Chaos erupted at Gino Jennings' church this past weekend, leaving congregants stunned and social media buzzing. Protesters stormed the service, shouting accusations and forcing an unexpected interruption that no one saw coming. What triggered this dramatic confrontation, and why is the pastor at the center of yet another controversy? Stay tuned, because the details are shocking, and you won't believe what happened next. Sunday morning at Gino Jennings' church began like any other. Congregants filled the pews, children fidgeted in the back, and the choir's voices echoed through the sanctuary. Pastor Jennings, known for his fiery sermons and controversial teachings, stepped to the pulpit as the service began. But behind the serene atmosphere, tensions were building. Reports started circulating online that a group of protesters planned to disrupt the service. These weren't just ordinary demonstrators. They were vocal critics of Jennings' ministry, alleging financial misconduct and inflammatory sermons. Social media posts hinted at signs, chants, and even attempts to confront Jennings directly. As the choir launched into the opening hymn, some churchgoers noticed unusual activity near the entrance. A few masked individuals were trying to push their way inside. What happened next shocked everyone. The protesters suddenly rushed in, waving signs and shouting accusations that echoed through the church's hallowed halls. Congregants froze. Some tried to intervene, while others pulled out their phones to record the chaos. And amidst it all, Pastor Jennings stood at the pulpit, momentarily silent, before responding with a forceful declaration that left everyone on edge. But this wasn't just a spontaneous outburst. There was a backstory that had been brewing for weeks, and the reason these protesters targeted this service is far more shocking than anyone could have imagined. To understand why this service erupted into chaos, we need to look at what led up to this confrontation. Gino Jennings has long been a polarizing figure in modern church circles. His ministry, characterized by strict teachings and controversial statements on social and moral issues, has drawn both passionate followers and outspoken critics. In recent months, rumors began swirling online about alleged financial improprieties within Jennings' church. Some former members claimed that donations were being mismanaged, while others alleged lavish spending on personal luxuries rather than community programs. These accusations, whether fully substantiated or not, gained traction on social media platforms, drawing attention from activist groups who focus on transparency in religious organizations. Then came the provocative posts that seemed to ignite the spark for Sunday's events. Videos surfaced of Jennings delivering fiery sermons in which he criticized not only other pastors, but entire communities and societal norms. While his followers praised him for his unapologetic stance, critics argued that some of his statements were harmful, inflammatory, and divisive. The protesters who interrupted the service were a mix of activists, former church members, and concerned citizens. They claimed their mission was to demand accountability and bring to light what they described as unaddressed issues within the church. Holding signs with phrases like "transparency now" and "stop the abuse," they were determined to confront Jennings publicly. As the protest unfolded, tensions escalated quickly. Some congregants attempted to reason with the demonstrators, while others were visibly frightened by the sudden aggression. Security struggled to maintain order, and the sanctuary, once a place of calm and worship, turned into a chaotic battleground of conflicting voices. And just when it seemed the situation might de-escalate, Jennings himself made a shocking move, one that left both the protesters and his congregation stunned. But before we get to that, there's another side to the story that most people don't know, a hidden tension inside the church itself that may have made the confrontation inevitable. As the protesters shouted and waved their signs, the atmosphere inside Gino Jennings' church had become electric with tension. Congregants were unsure whether to flee, confront, or simply watch in disbelief. The camera phones recorded every second, and within minutes, the incident began trending across social media, sparking debates and divided opinions online. Pastor Jennings, known for his commanding presence and sharp rhetoric, did not back down. For a moment, silence fell over the crowd as everyone waited to see how he would respond. Then, with a voice that carried authority and defiance, he addressed the protesters directly. "I see what you're trying to do," Jennings said, his tone unwavering. "But this is my house, and in this sanctuary, God's word will not be drowned out by anger or false accusations." Rallying behind their pastor, while others whispered nervously, realizing the situation could escalate at any moment. The protesters continued chanting, growing louder and more persistent. Security personnel stepped in, attempting to escort the activists out, but it quickly became apparent that the confrontation was not just about their presence, it was about challenging the very authority of Jennings' ministry. What made the moment even more intense was an unexpected twist. A few former church members, who had previously raised concerns about the church's finances and leadership, appeared among the protesters. Their presence added weight to the demonstration and drew gasps from congregants who remembered their past loyalty to Jennings. The tension in the room was palpable. Every word, every movement, seemed to hold the potential for chaos. At one point, a protester tried to approach the pulpit, shouting a pointed accusation about alleged financial mismanagement. Congregants gasped, and security moved in to prevent a confrontation. But in a move that left everyone stunned, Pastor Jennings stopped them with a single gesture, paused, and then delivered a statement that both condemned the protest and reaffirmed his leadership. "I will not be intimidated," Jennings declared, his voice echoing through the sanctuary. "This ministry is accountable to God, not to the mobs who seek to disrupt our service and spread lies." The room fell into a tense silence. Social media users later described this as a defining moment in the confrontation, some calling it inspiring, others calling it defiant and controversial. But the suspense didn't end there. Just as many thought the situation was calming down, an unexpected incident occurred that pushed the service to its breaking point. Just when it seemed the chaos might subside, an unexpected incident sent shockwaves through Gino Jennings' church. A small group of protesters, emboldened by the attention, attempted to bring a megaphone close to the pulpit to make their accusations louder. In the scramble to maintain order, one of the microphones fell, creating a loud crash that reverberated through the sanctuary. Some congregants screamed, while others ducked instinctively, fearing the situation might turn violent. At that moment, Pastor Jennings made a decision that shocked everyone present. Rather than escalating the confrontation physically, he paused the service entirely. Standing firmly at the pulpit, he demanded silence and then addressed not only the protesters, but the entire congregation. "This is a moment of truth," Jennings said. "You see, I have faced criticism before, but today we must remember what this church stands for. Those who come with lies and agendas will not sway the faithful. But those with questions, those who seek understanding, I am willing to answer, after the service, in a proper and orderly manner." This statement drew mixed reactions. Some applauded his calm, yet commanding response, praising his ability to maintain authority under pressure. Others felt it was a strategic move to regain control while deflecting direct confrontation. The protesters, meanwhile, seemed momentarily stunned, unsure how to respond to Jennings' measured tone. Outside the church, the fallout was immediate. Videos of the confrontation went viral, racking up millions of views across social media platforms. News outlets began reporting on the incident, sparking heated debates about freedom of speech, accountability in religious organizations, and the growing polarization around controversial pastors. Online forums lit up with heated discussions, some defending Jennings' right to lead his ministry as he sees fit, others condemning his approach as authoritarian and dismissive. Adding fuel to the fire, interviews with former church members revealed more details about alleged internal disputes. While some spoke positively about their time under Jennings' leadership, others described tension, strict control over members, and allegations of financial mismanagement. These claims, though unverified by any legal authority, intensified public curiosity and drew more attention to the church's internal operations. Amid all this turmoil, one question lingered. Why did this protest escalate to such a dramatic level now? Social media clues, whispers from former members, and even cryptic posts from the protesters themselves hinted at a deeper issue, something far more personal and controversial involving the pastor himself. The revelation of this secret, which could change public perception of Jennings entirely, would come later. But the tension and suspense surrounding it were already reaching a boiling point. While the chaos inside the church made headlines, a deeper controversy was quietly unfolding behind the scenes. Sources close to the situation revealed that the protest was not just about allegations of financial mismanagement or general criticism of Pastor Jennings' teachings. It was fueled by a personal dispute that had long been simmering within the congregation. Former members and activists claimed that certain practices within the church had created tension for years. Some alleged that Jennings' leadership style, though charismatic and powerful, sometimes bordered on authoritarian, discouraging open dialogue or questioning. Others hinted at what they described as exclusive inner circles, where only a few trusted aides had influence over church decisions, leaving ordinary congregants feeling unheard and disrespected. Adding to the controversy were allegations that financial decisions within the ministry were opaque. Former staff members claimed that large sums of donations were directed toward initiatives that were either untraceable or lacked clear accounting. Social media posts and leaked documents suggested that some critics had concrete evidence, receipts, statements, and internal communications that painted a picture of mismanagement. While none of this has been legally confirmed, the perception alone was enough to fuel public outrage. Then came the most shocking revelation. The protest reportedly targeted a particular sermon where Jennings addressed topics that some considered highly controversial, even divisive. In this sermon, he reportedly made statements about other ministries, societal norms, and even family structures that ignited anger from certain groups within the church. Those familiar with the sermon described it as polarizing and the spark that lit the fuse for the protest. But the tension reached its peak when a video surfaced showing a heated exchange between Jennings and a former member who had been publicly critical of him. In the video, Jennings confronted the individual about spreading false narratives and questioned their motives for disrupting the service. The exchange, though brief, was intense and captured on camera, fueling online debates about accountability, leadership, and the role of public criticism in religious settings. Social media erupted with speculation. Was this protest purely about transparency, or was it a calculated effort to publicly shame the pastor? Some followers defended Jennings, praising his courage in standing firm under pressure. Others argued that the confrontation exposed a hidden layer of conflict that the church had long tried to conceal. And while the viral videos and heated online debates dominated the conversation, insiders hinted at an even more personal layer to the controversy, one that involved long-standing tensions between Jennings and members of his congregation. These tensions, they said, were simmering quietly for years, and Sunday's protest was the moment when they finally boiled over.